Coming up on Citrus TV News, a Syracuse University fraternity is suspended from campus. We'll tell you the violations they face and how they are responding.
And across campus, you may have noticed new security cameras. Why some students are skeptical of the new safety measure.
The New York Toy Fair is underway. Thousands of adults are testing out the coolest toys and games every kid will be begging for in a couple of months. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
The Syracuse University chapter of Alpha Epsilon Pi is suspended due to conduct violations. Good evening, I'm Mike Riccardi.
And I'm Lianza Reyes. The specifics of the violations are unclear, but AE Pi is currently listed as a Greek organization not allowed to operate on FAFSA's website.
Citrus TV reporter Chris Venzon is here to tell us about the investigation. Chris, what's the latest?
Yeah, Mike. So Syracuse University has suspended Alpha Epsilon Pi. The Fraternities and Sororities Affairs Office, or FAFSA, released a brief statement on Saturday night, but then expanded on that statement earlier today, saying that its investigation concluded that AE Pi violated FAFSA's Student Code of Conduct. You can take a look at this full screen. What you'll see is a statement that says, as soon as we were made aware of the conduct that threatened the safety of a student participating in the new member process, we took immediate action to halt fraternity activities at Alpha Epsilon Pi. Really the big takeaway from the FAFSA statement and their statement regarding AE Pi's suspension is that this was not a hazing-related event. That made very clear from FAFSA and IFC that this is an event that, despite the rumors, hazing was not involved.
And so, Chris, now what's next for AE Pi?
Well, earlier today, Jonathan Pierce, the representative for AE Pi International, he was one of their former president, currently representing the fraternity with the media in these few coming weeks as they handle the investigation, as they handle the charges against it, was that basically Alpha Phi Epsilon was remarkably disappointed with how the Syracuse University and how FAFSA conducted its investigation, in that it disregarded some facts that it thought needed to be put into place. AE Pi International was concerned that some of the students who were left out, some of the good eggs, as you should say, were being punished as opposed for one individual's specific misconduct. What he said in his statement that was particularly interesting, and it's really the only clue as to why AE Pi was suspended so far, was that there was a criminal activity that took place as a part of that, saying that this one particular individual violated not only AE Pi rules, but also FAFSA Code of Conduct and criminal activity. That is one of the key things to note from there. AE Pi's Jonathan Pierce, he said that the AE Pi International is considering legal action. They're going to try to take care of their students, but they feel like this thing could have been handled a little bit differently. That's the key takeaway.
And Chris, AE Pi is not the only fraternity that has been investigated by the university this year. What's been some of the other trouble for the fraternities on campus?
Well, three big ones to take note of: Delta Tau Delta, DEEC, they were suspended, and Sigma Alpha Mu. Those three were either under investigation or have had troubles allegedly with hazing. DEEC was initially suspended for hazing, but then they appealed. They're now back on probation. Delta Tau Delta, they have had issues and were suspended for issues with the Code of Conduct and violations. They've been suspended. And then Sigma Alpha Mu, they're currently under investigation, allegedly with hazing. So you can add Alpha Epsilon Pi to another list of fraternities that have allegedly had difficulties with the Code of Conduct at Syracuse.
All right, thank you, Chris. Citrus TV will make sure to keep you updated on this developing story.
And renowned robotics expert Vijay Kumar will be speaking at Syracuse University as part of the University Lecture Series. Kumar is Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Science at the University of Pennsylvania and has been recognized for his work in developing aerial robotics technology. The lecture is open to the public and will take place in Hendricks Chapel tomorrow at 7:30. And students interested in changing their major or even adding a new one can attend the Major Fair in the Shine Student Center tomorrow from 11 to 4. The fair is being hosted by Academic Affairs and the Division of Enrollment and the Student Experience. Representatives from all of SU's 13 schools and colleges will be there to guide students and take questions about the university's more than 200 majors. The Syracuse University Student Association will be handing out 1,000 free tickets to the men's basketball game against North Carolina. From 4 to 6 tomorrow, students can line up at Gate E at the Carrier Dome. The tickets are on a first-come, first-served basis. There will also be other giveaways at the event. The men's basketball game against the Tar Heels is Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And you may have noticed new security cameras lining the promenade since you got back from break. CitrusTV reporter Zachary Levine has more about why exactly these new cameras were put up. Zach?
Yeah, well, you may have noticed them or you may not have. See, the cameras installed at the end of last semester on the promenade are well concealed and blend in with the light posts that hold them up. I spoke with DPS Chief Bobby Maldonado about why exactly they were installed. You may not have noticed them, but they're there. And they're everywhere. Towards the end of last semester, 15 security cameras were installed on light poles along the promenade. The installation of these cameras serves DPS multiple purposes.
There could be cameras could be there because, just general safety concerns. If we want to see what sort of numbers of, the amount of people that are on campus at any particular time. If there's an assembly of students, if there is, a parade of some sort, and just being able to monitor those sort of things, but not so much that, we're expecting crime.
With the quiet, unannounced addition of these cameras, it's only natural some students may be skeptical.
Generally, people are always concerned about, cameras and privacy infringement. I think that's kind of a natural trend that you'll see nationwide, and not only here at Syracuse University or in the city of Syracuse. But I would say to them that we certainly don't have the luxury or the time to monitor those cameras. When you think of it, if students think that we're monitoring cameras on the promenade on a daily basis, that's certainly not the case.
Now, while there are only 15 cameras on the promenade, each one can provide officers with 3 separate views, meaning DPS has 45 different camera angles along the promenade.
Now, Zachary, what's been the reaction of the student body to these new cameras?
Well, one student I spoke to didn't actually realize, and multiple students actually didn't actually realize the cameras were up. They're well concealed, as I mentioned earlier. So they were, a little concerned that DPS didn't send out an email explaining why the cameras were put up, but at the same time, they're just happy the promenade's secure.
And now, why exactly are the cameras designed to blend in with a light post? Is there a certain reason as to why that's the design of it?
Well, it's not exactly to conceal them from people, for example. It's more to at least put them in a more natural light and a natural setting, so they don't look like they're blatantly obvious. They don't stand out for vandals. Vandalism's a big problem with cameras. So if they're somewhat blending in, it's a little harder for vandals to find them.
Well, Zachary Levine, great work as always. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Popular grocery chain Tops may be filing for bankruptcy, according to a recent report from Bloomberg. A union representing over 12,000 Tops employees has stated that they are closely monitoring the situation and have consulted with attorneys following the report released on Saturday. Tops is the closest grocery store to Syracuse University. They own locations in New York, Vermont, and Pennsylvania. Residents and police in Ithaca are expressing concern over hateful graffiti at a local skate park. On Saturday night, the community painted over the offensive writings, which were first discovered on Friday morning. Police say the graffiti did not embody the values of Ithaca or its residents, and that it was necessary that it come down. Police are asking for the public's help in finding who is responsible. If you have any information, you can contact them at 607-330-0000. The International Toy Fair is in New York this week. The fair, held at Javits Convention Center in NYC, features the hottest new games and gadgets. 443,000 square feet of exhibit space will be filled with toys. Sounds like a heaven for little kids. Stores use the convention to decide what toys to stock ahead of the holiday season. The popular toys this year are educational tech gadgets. New York state parks are seeing an increase in attendance. More than 71 million people visited state parks last year, up by 950,000 in 2016. This is the 7th straight year the parks have seen attendance grow, many of which are among the first in the nation. Governor Cuomo is providing nearly $900 million to upgrade facilities and attract even more visitors.
Well, Lianza, watching the Olympics recently, I have an itch to go cross-country skiing, one of my loves. However, all of this rain has been melting the snow.
And I definitely agree, Mike. And Jenna Babyak is here in studio to tell us more about tonight's rainy forecast. Jenna?
Yeah, guys, it was a rainy one today. It's going to be another rainy one tonight and tomorrow. Taking a look at the current temperatures, it's 42 degrees, pretty warm outside, and we're just seeing rain all throughout the day, all throughout the night. Winds coming in pretty slow. And then looking at our future radar right now, we're seeing rain coming in, but through the night, it'll ease up a little bit, seeing lighter showers, and then moving into tomorrow. Thanks, guys. I'll have your full weather forecast coming up.
Coming up on Citrus TV News, students are calling for legislative action in response to the mass shooting at a Florida high school last week.
And more than 20 people were kicked off a cruise ship after a massive fight investigators described as a bloodbath. What caused the brawl?
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch!
Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS! They say a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We call BS! They say guns are just tools like knives and are as dangerous as cars. We call BS!
The Florida high school shooting has turned into a call for action. Last week, 17 students and teachers were killed during a shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Now, many are calling for legislative action.
Organizers behind the Women's March are encouraging students and teachers to walk out of their schools on March 14 for 17 minutes, one for each victim. Meanwhile, students who survived the shooting are heading to Washington on March 24, organizing a protest called March for Our Lives.
The Florida school shooter Nicholas Cruz was in court today. Police say he owned at least 10 rifles. They believe all of them were bought legally in the last year.
And while students and activists push gun control, White House officials say that President Trump supports efforts to improve background checks.
Trump spoke with senators from both parties about a bipartisan bill that strengthens the report system that prohibits certain individuals from purchasing firearms. However, it's uncertain whether President Trump will carry forward with his support. He ran as a pro-gun candidate during the campaign, and gun control efforts have failed in the past following mass shootings.
In addition, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says President Trump's budget plan will cut millions of dollars from existing background check systems. The president's budget proposal was released last Monday, 2 days before the shooting in Parkland.
In the proposal, Schumer claims that the president cuts $12 million from federal programs that help fund local databases on who is ineligible to purchase firearms.
The Russian government has again denied it had any role in meddling in the 2016 presidential election in its first response to the indictment of 13 Russian nationals by the Department of Justice. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that though those involved were Russian citizens, they were not involved in working in cooperation with the state.
In addition to the individuals implicated, 3 organizations were found to be spearheading the effort, including one owned by Evgeny Prigozhin, a known associate of President Vladimir Putin. And fights and disruptive behavior have caused Australian police to remove a family of 23 from a Carnival cruise ship. The 10-day cruise ship had to dock early in Australia so 9 men and their families could be removed from the ship for fighting, unruly conduct, and for hurting other passengers.
Carnival announced it will offer a 25% discount on future cruises to all passengers affected by the violence. Search and rescue teams in Iran today reached the site of a plane crash that killed all 65 people on board. Asiman Airlines Flight 3704 went down yesterday in foggy weather and crashed into Mount Dina in southern Iran.
High winds and fog made it difficult for rescue teams to locate the crash site until earlier this morning. For years, Iran has been barred from buying essential airplane parts due to Western sanctions over its controversial nuclear program. Plus, a Kentucky Fried Chicken nightmare, why KFC restaurants in the UK are running out of their most important ingredient. Stay with us.
After the break, Marvel's new superhero movie broke records at the box office this weekend, and why the movie is inspiring kids.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, it's going to be really warm, 53 degrees. Now that's 10 degrees warmer than it is right now. We're going to see a lot of fog in the morning, some brief showers, but in the morning it's going to be a little bit drier. And then looking at Tuesday's forecast, we're going to see more rain coming through. 62 degrees, that's pretty hot compared to what we've been seeing over the past few weeks. We're going to see a couple of afternoon showers here and there, not a lot of heavy rain, but definitely be prepared to see rain tomorrow. And then planning your day, we're going to see showers throughout the day. Temperatures are pretty consistent, so luckily you won't have to be removing layers all day. You can wear the same jacket. And then looking at your game day forecast for Wednesday, it's going to be warmer during the day, but then tip-off is at 7 p.m. It's going to be 44 degrees and dipping even colder once the game is moving towards the ending, and it'll be warmer during the day. So planning your tailgates, make sure you're bringing layers for after the game when you leave the dome. It'll be pretty cold. And then looking at temperatures throughout the area right now, more or less consistent. We're seeing warmer temperatures in the east, colder towards Syracuse and then looking in the south, pretty consistent. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Fried chicken stores across the United Kingdom have been forced to close due to a shortage of chicken. According to KFC's parent company, Yum, the shortage was caused by a couple of teething problems with its new delivery partner. 800 out of 900 UK locations were closed. Some were able to open by mid-afternoon after deliveries were made late. A warning for dog owners: a popular pet food is recalled after small levels of a drug used in euthanasia were discovered in the sample. The FDA says that the test done on the Gravy Train dog food produced by the James Smucker Company showed traces of a sedative used to euthanize animals. Consuming the drug can cause drowsiness, nausea, and an inability to stand. James Smucker says it was disappointed in the results and remains committed to providing quality food to its consumers.
In the newest movie in the Marvel lineup, Black Panther is smashing box office records. It's on its opening weekend. It brought nearly $200 million. It also has the highest score for a live-action superhero movie on Rotten Tomatoes at 97%. Black Panther features almost an entirely black cast. It's being praised as an important step in the right direction for cultural diversity in Hollywood.
Coming up in sports, Syracuse men's basketball played in a must-win game in Coral Gables over the weekend. Men's lacrosse hosted its first ranked opponent of 2018, and a Syracuse softball player achieved perfection. Stick around.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did cats go on vacation? New York.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Welcome to your Citrus TV Sports Update. I'm Adam Unger. Syracuse basketball sits right on the bubble of a first-round bye in the ACC tournament. And on Saturday, the Orange squared off against Miami. So Jim Boeheim and company were looking to take their talents to South Beach and come home with a win. But early on, Chris Likes was going to end up showing off his ability from long range with a three, and Miami would be up 8-7 at that point. But just a minute later, O'Shea Brissett's going to drive off the wing, pump fake, slams it home. Big dunk for the freshman, 11-9 at that point, but with just 2 minutes left in the half, bad turnover for Brissett, forced by Jaquan Newton, and Lonnie Walker, the freshman, takes it the other way, coast to coast for the layup. 21-20, Miami led at that point, and it was tied at 25 going into halftime. But in the second half, here come the Orange. Frank Howard with the floater, part of a 15-0 run for Syracuse, but Miami not going away. Jaquan Newton with a three to cut that Orange lead to 6. It was 43-37 at that point. And Lonnie Walker, this is how you beat the 2-3 zone by yourself. My goodness, he's getting pumped up. 52-47 at that point. And Tyus Battle just trying to hang on to that Orange lead. 57-51 at that point. And in the final seconds, You'd see a desperation heat for Miami, but it wouldn't matter anyway, as Syracuse gives Miami its third straight loss, 62-55. 4 Orange scored in double figures, and speaking of double, O'Shea Brissett's performance was his 10th double-double of the season. Syracuse's next 2 games are both against ranked opponents. They're in the Dome against number 10 UNC on Wednesday, and after that, they visit number 5 Duke on Saturday. Now back here in Syracuse, the men's lacrosse team hosted number 3 Albany. And after the Orange smacked Binghamton 21-4 in their season opener, they ended up on the other end of a blowout. SU lost to the Great Danes 15-3. Freshman attack Tahoka Nanakoke lived up to the hype. Nanakoke was the number 1 overall recruit in the class of 2017 according to Inside Lacrosse. He scored 5 goals in a field day for the Great Danes. Nanakoke was going behind the back, one-handed, backhanded, you name it, the freshman was unreal. Now Syracuse struck first on the man up, but then the Orange didn't score again until the third quarter. Albany more than doubled Syracuse's shot totals, and the Great Danes also won the ground ball battle and the face-off battle. The loss dropped SU down to number 16 in the polls, while Albany rose to number 2. Number 9 Army West Point comes to the Dome on Saturday. And tonight, Syracuse women's basketball takes on Pittsburgh for the second time this season. The Orange won their last meeting 70-52. The Panthers gave up 20 turnovers in that contest. To boot, SU has won the last 13 games in a row against Pitt. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Syracuse softball has been in California for the last 3 days. In one of their 5 games there, sophomore Alexa Romero pitched a perfect game against Sacramento State. That's the first time that's happened since 2000 and the first no-hitter since 2014. The Orange won that one 8-0, and the Orange heads to Houston next weekend for the Hilton Plaza Invitational. And from the diamond to the ice, there was some early action in the NHL today. Jason Zucker's 2 goals led the Minnesota Wild over the New York Islanders 5-3, and the Washington Capitals topped the Buffalo Sabres 3-2. That one ended just about an hour ago. Caps forward Alex Ovechkin scored his league-leading 35th goal of the season. Back to you guys.
Citrus TV News will be back in 90 seconds.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
So, Jenna, what exactly should I wear tomorrow specifically?
Yeah, tomorrow's a tricky one because it's going to be really, really warm, and yet it's going to be raining a lot too. So you can't really bring out those dresses or those shorts because you're going to want to be covered up since it's raining. And then if we take a look at the 5-day forecast throughout the week, it's going to be pretty rainy too. See, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, we're seeing rain on all of these days. Little break from the rain on Thursday with the clouds, but as you can see, the temperatures are really high. We're seeing 60s and then dipping lower into the 30s, but back into the 40s for the weekend. So you'll definitely be needing to change your wardrobe this week.
All right, thanks, Jenna. You remember earlier in this show when we mentioned the Toy Fair in New York City? Well, one of the new toys showcased there is giving Harry Potter fans quite a bit to talk about.
The toy company Wow Stuff partnered with Warner Brothers to create a new golden snitch toy that can appear like it's flying. The toy operates without batteries and has already won through to the finals of the UK's 2018 Gift of the Year. And that's all that we have for Citrus TV News. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. For Citrus TV News, I'm Lianza Reyes.
And I'm Mike Riccardi. Happy President's Day, Syracuse.